Hi there, my name's Ryan. This is part two of a two-part series on using the IBM Watson SDK for Unity and specifically focused on leveraging speech to text and the language translator, which are IBM Watson APIs. We're in Unity right now, building on some of the prior work that was outlined by Taj in the 8-part video series, which I'll reference, and then the last version here. You can see that I am speaking and the system is translating real time. The car is blue. The apple tastes very good. It is yummy. The cat is sitting on the couch. So what we're going to do now is we're going to add another language here. As mentioned before, we're dealing with the IBM Watson SDK for Unity. This can now be loaded very easily within Unity by going to the Asset Store and typing in IBM Watson in the search panel. You can also download it from the GitHub repo as Taj demonstrated, but the Asset Store is pretty easy and usually takes about 4 or 5 minutes. And here it is, the IBM Watson SDK for Unity within the Asset Store. Just click on that, install it, and the assets will appear down there. So that's that. Here's the Taj series here. You can recommend doing them all to get started with the basics. Speech is covered well in 3 and 4, and the foundation for this is really from 5 through 8, and in the prior version here. This is the IBM Cloud. This is where you go to get your endpoints, specifically the speech-to-text API and the language translator API here. You can sign up for free on IBM Cloud, and these LITE versions are free versions of the API. So you can get your usernames, passwords, and URLs for each of these services and paste them into the code, as we'll show you here. And then you're good to go and operate out of Unity and the code from that point forward. Within IBM Watson, there's some good documentation, including down here. Within the language translator documentation, if we click on the language support, we get to the models that are here. We've already hooked up Spanish and French and Italian and Portuguese and Arabic, but what we haven't done yet is Japanese, which is en.ja. That's the name of the model within the APIs. So if we send that to the service, it'll send us back Japanese if we send it English, and that's what we're going to do here. So let's get started. We'll pop over back to Unity, and let's get back here to our demo and into the game scene. So as we begin, we're going to need a text landing or a text placeholder for this. So let's go over here and right-click on UI and text. And here we are. And let's rename that to text.ja, I recall it. And we'll move it above here. Most of these other text components are dynamic. They will update the small static titles up there in the left-hand side. So now we got to find it. So let's make it 20 font size and then we'll make it much more visible. We'll shoot for some cherry blossom pink here. Let's go and center it, and we'll go here. And let's see where our other positions are. We got 0, 350, and 160. All right, we're getting in the right ballpark there, and let's update our default text to start. Let's try spelling it right. All right, there we go. And that'll be near enough, I think. There we go. That'll do. All right, so we've got a placeholder for this. One thing you must remember, which I forgot periodically, is you need to connect the text artifacts over here to the response fields. There's not one there for Japanese yet, but there will be. If you're getting errors, that may be the cause of it. So let's go into the code and let's do a bunch of copying and pasting and create another version here for the Japanese. Now this is not following best practices. We should be tightening up the code and creating sort of more reusable functions that we can pass the language to, but I am keeping it simple and ham-fisting it for simplicity's sake and for demonstration's sake. So let's go in here and let's create a public text variable, and let's make this one JA for Japanese. And we're also going to need to create a private string here to pass the model an EN to JA model. So when we're talking to the language translation service, it will know what to pass us back. All right, let's save that. So we've got Japanese represented here now and down here. Now we're going to go down and again, this is not best practices, but we're going to do it this way for tonight. So we're going to copy and paste our Arabic. And in 5 places, we're going to replace our translation, our Arabic with Japanese. 1, 2, 3. You recall this from above. We just created that. 4, and 5. Every language has its own function, or rather every function has its own language. You can tighten that up later, but that'll do for now. One other thing we need to go is this has all been done in the language translator .cs file. We're going to need to go into example streaming. There's one other place that this shows up is here. This code shows up right after the speech to text service returns a transcript, and I'll paste it here. You can see that all the languages are represented with the exception of English, which we're just purely passing straight through to the response text field. There's no actions that are taken on that. So we've added Japanese here, and let's head back over. And it's you can see it's importing the assets here, and we might be able to, if we're lucky, to see our Japanese response text field. It's not quite showing up there yet. Let's see if this helps us. And I am still learning, so this may not be best practices either. But let's see what we get. The other way to force it through is to just try to run it, get the error, and then it'll show up here in a second. Let's see what we get. All right. Now, if we're lucky, not this time, but the next time, we will see the text show up. So we will terminate the program now because we've not. Huh. Oh, yes. So yeah, this is exactly what we expect. Because we haven't connected, it's trying to push back the text field to j.text. We actually haven't made that connection. So if you see an error that looks like this, null reference exception, the reference hasn't been set. We need to go and do that now. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to stop our program. Let's go save this just in case. And stop this. And if the gods are smiling, there we are. There's a response field waiting to be wired in. If all goes well, we should be able to drag this over if the pinwheel permits, and then we should be good to restart it. We don't want to be in here. All right, here we go. All right, fingers are crossed. Can we speak Japanese? The cherry blossoms are lovely. It is very good that this is working now. I am pleased that we got this working. And now we have Japanese and Arabic and Spanish. We also have French and Italian and German. We have 7 languages now being translated. That should make us happy. Thank you for watching the video, and hopefully some of this was useful. I will post the links in the YouTube and comments.